Hmm. Welcome again to these wonderful and insightful episodes on AI and different aspects of our life. So we've been talking about AI and education, how it affects our education, both positive and in a negative way. And we thought we need to discuss this topic comprehensively, and that's why we decided we're not going to end it in our last conversation, but we shall brainstorm and benchmark with what is happening in other parts of the world. So we connected with our friends in the Europe as well as United States, comparing that to our context in Africa and Kenya specifically, to see what are the differences and what we have in common. Particularly, we were benchmarking with what is happening in Netherlands and in Belgium, the progress they have made in different aspects, including training teachers, preparing teachers for these what we call Genie AI in education. So we're still the three of us gentlemen. We shall pick up from where we left in terms of AI and education. If we're not, if we have new information that we're getting about AI and education, we still prepare new episodes for you in our subsequent conversations. But after this, we look forward to having conversations in other professions, including health, research, think of any other profession. We shall be delving into it. So welcome again. I don't know, we had introduced ourselves. Far left is Amos. And then we have Ambasu. Ambasu said you can only he's only called Ambasu when he's in the village. If you call him Stanley, then you'll not find him. But here you can find him. So let's see. Maybe each one of them can tell us how they've been as we pick up on this conversation. Welcome, guys.
Okay, thanks Amos. Thanks guys for your time as well. We are back again on this topic, very crucial topic, on how AI is going to affect or impact our academics. Maybe what Elias has just mentioned, we are trying to look at ways and avenues in which we can compare what's happening here in Kenya and other countries, how people are taking this technology, the conception, what people are talking about AI, and what are some of the mitigation measures they are putting in place to ensure that this tool can become human friendly other than becoming a threat, so that human beings can work with it. So maybe before we dive deeper, we can hear from our colleague here, Amos.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Stanley, and also thank you, Elias, for the awesome introduction. Yeah, so I would like to thank everybody for your support. So far, this is our third. We are planning to release our third episode, and we have received overwhelming support in our first and second episodes. Yeah, so we thank you so much for those who take the time to listen to these conversations. I know they are quite long conversations, but we believe these conversations are quite important. And as a country, we need to sit down and have this dialogue, because we're talking about something that is very powerful, that is coming to change our lives. Yeah. So if we go ahead of all this and start discussing and finding ways on how we can tame this genie, then we are going to have a chance to face it. Because for those who have interacted with this AI, we know how powerful this software, these models are, and the earlier we are to harnessing the power of this genie, the better for us. Yeah, the better for us. And yeah, as Elias has mentioned, we have had inputs from other people from all over the world, and yeah, it's very interesting what is happening in other countries regarding AI, and I believe that today's conversation is going to help us to delve deeper into these discussions, and I hope that you can share this content with more people, so that more can know about it, and we help each other as earlier as possible. So I'm looking forward to these conversations.
Thank you so much. When Stanley started to talk, I just realized, oops, we've all of us are in red. Honestly, it was not planned.
This is red, this is maroon.
Okay,
No,
okay, but I think
although
on
I'm
camera it will
colorblind.
look like red. I think
No.
it's because
The color will be different.
I think
But at least there's some like-mindedness there.
Although I'm colorblind, but one thing I know, this is
It's-
red and this is maroon
yeah,
somehow.
this is maroon. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think it's in preparation for Valentine's Week.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know there is Valentine. Okay.
So
Okay.
nature is working out. Anyway, so let's look into it. Off the camera, we were talking about what is happening in other countries, and we're glad to connect with some teachers from Netherlands or those who are studying something to do with curriculum in Belgium. And even though we're not mentioned their names, but at some point we shall invite them just to share the insights about what they are doing or what is happening from that side. Some of the insights you're getting from these other parts of the world is that the government is proactively engaging teachers to be aware of what is in these AI. They should be aware before they know how to approach it with their role in school. Because students, as we know, they can easily, the way we've said earlier, they can easily try to get answers from the different AI tools, ChatGPT, Bard, Bing, whatever you want to talk about. But now on the other side, they're taking a different approach. What we learned is that there is a suggestion that a teacher can encourage their learners to use ChatGPT, get the answers from that platform. Like, let's say you've been given an essay on effects of abortion. Let's just take that as an example. Or let's take a less serious topic. You can say any topic. I'm only serious.
So maybe
Uses of water. Let's talk about uses. Uses of water. Okay. So this is not alcohol; it's water. So uses.
nobody thought it was alcohol.
Maybe someone.
So which one is alcohol?
We have colorless liquids here, and then one is colored. Anyway, uses of water. If you type into ChatGPT, what are the uses of water? It's likely to give you, let's say, in point form, what are the different uses of water, whether you want to talk about salty or fresh water. And then teachers are being encouraged, tell your learners to do that. And let's meet in class to discuss the results that were derived from your different searches. Traditionally, what we've been doing in our search was you Google and then you read so many articles to try and find one specific answer. But now we are in another era where answers can be found, specific answers that you want on an instant click. And then now if teachers are being encouraged to tell their learners, get the answers and let's meet tomorrow to discuss, let's say, the content which you found on the different platforms. Is it deep enough? Is it true? Is it not true? I don't know what you think about this approach. Is it a good one, or we can have something better?
Yeah, I think it's a good approach, but now the only different is the setting, because maybe we can't compare, for example, Kenya and Netherlands. I'm assuming Netherlands is a way ahead in terms of
It's a developed country. Yeah, you would expect that.
However, this is something is a reality we need to accept. And but my worry is that the government of the day know even about ChatGPT. That's just a question. I don't know if
we shall get into that.
And if they do they know how it's affecting the students? That's another question. Maybe they need to do a research about. So, because for you to mitigate all this and allow teachers to use this tool to when they are even talking to students or asking students to go and use the tool to come up with solutions, it also calls for other things like technology, because there are teachers sorry to say, who even do not know how to operate a computer.
You don't need to
Yeah,
apologize.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
true. True.
Very
Because
serious.
even when you're in high school, you could only have one teacher who is taking you through computer studies.
Even I was speaking with another teacher also. They don't even know what ChatGPT is. So you can imagine now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this teacher does not have a smartphone, does not know how to use a computer, does not know what ChatGPT is. So I'm just assuming, how will this teacher even begin to teach these students how to use or how to source for these solutions for different questions and come and discuss with them?
Yeah.
So that calls for something the government needs to do, maybe to change. The government should also change the way teachers are trained. From
Yeah, I think that's part of the training we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because if you are still using the content that was done in 2010 or even earlier to train teachers, yet technology is always evolving, then it's you're lagging behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also it goes back to what we had discussed in the earlier episode, where we just mentioned that we have to rethink the idea of learning.
Of learning, yeah.
Yeah, because the process that we went through us when we were growing up and when we were just acquiring knowledge, it was a very different process, and it was the one which required a lot of determination, a lot of commitment,
Hard work.
hard work. You have to invest so much time to be able to understand very, very simple concepts, because you can't just find information packed in one place, all of it.
Carrying 7 books for 7 subjects.
For 7 subjects.
But nowadays you can get all the information on one gadget.
I remember even when I was in high school, in high school, we didn't have all the resources that were required for us to understand us very well.
Yeah.
So you find, like, for one to be able to understand, let's say, a concept like molarity in chemistry. Okay, I think it's done in all the high schools in Kenya.
Institutions.
You have to take a lot of textbooks. You bring them together. You have test and fix it. You have golden tips. You have Patel.
Primary.
You have
primary learning already.
Encyclopedia.
You have to bring them all together. Then you have to sit down. Because sometimes even those books they tend to give different different let's say, like, perspectives. So you have to take time and understand all that. But now we're talking about like coming up with a system where the student has to go to these chatbots, and then they're given a precise answer without that hassle of going through all that. So to some extent it can be beneficial for the student, because they don't have to waste so much time reading so much stuff which is not relevant. They can be very precise. So if you look at in the grand scheme of things, maybe if it's used well, there might be a possibility of these students acquiring vast amounts of knowledge, which are very, very precise in a very short period of time.
Yeah, those are some very interesting points. It is, I mean, from what we've learned from what is happening in other countries, I just came across some policy brief in Kenya that is talking about the government set up this task force. I think it was in 2016. It's called Blockchain and Artificial Intelligence Task Force, and it was tasked with identifying opportunities, threats, and anything that we could harness from AI.
So what was the name of that task force? If you can
Blockchain and Artificial Intelligence.
That's the name
of the task force.
Okay.
Yeah. Among the recommendations, or rather, some of the things they observed is the way anyone else could observe that AI has the benefit, and we've seen this, that you are able to apply for a loan on your device and you get it. It's not someone who is controlling that information in the background, but it is some machine learning tools that are working in the background.
Yeah.
You remember we've worked on some credit scoring. By the way, we are experts in credit scoring for financial institutions and microfinance. We've done this before. We just set up a system and you have smart or automatic scoring of your clients. Are they worth to be given money? Are they able to pay back? So all this is happening because of machine learning and artificial intelligence. and it's just a matter of data that you need to feed it. Now, they already identify all these benefits. We are already aware that it's being used in agriculture. We have smart agriculture where you can deploy that, and it tells you the moisture content, the type of fertilizer to use. You talk about health. Now, education. I've just learned that UNICEF has a learning platform that uses machine learning, and it's being run in Kenya, although it's not so popular. So there is so much that is already being done, but now we have what Stanley has talked about, the gaps that we have. We don't have connectivity in so many places. The technology itself is still lagging behind, and then now we have the main problem of data and skill gap, because sorry, I'm talking too much, not to give you, but I'm trying to just create a context. The task force identified that, I think the Ministry of Education, through a study in 2018, identified that only 22% of students in universities are taking STEM courses. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yeah.
Comparing to Asian giants, Singapore, South Korea, 70% of students are taking STEM courses. Now that makes us not developers of these tools, but consumers. Now, before we even get to that point, we have that aspect of how are we going to change the way teaching will be done, and how is this going to help even in the assessment. Some of them are saying it facilitates quick assessment of learners. I don't know if you have any idea on how this can be done here.
Yeah, but before I answer that question, you've raised so many things.
So many in one.
Yeah.
And I would love that. I would love that we discuss all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very curious about this task force, which was formed in Kenya to help us with the blockchain and the AI technology. I don't know why they put them together. Yeah, they must be having their own reasons why they put blockchain and the AI together.
Yeah.
Because I think AI needs like a special attention compared to blockchain.
Yeah,
needs very special
absolutely,
attention.
yeah.
Yeah, because blockchain, we can't use blockchain to assist students in learning. Maybe in a different way, in a different way. But I understand that blockchain is mostly, so far, the use that I'm very familiar with is when it comes to currency, this cryptocurrency.
But they can also be used in
Security.
application development, very secure application.
Yeah, for security.
So maybe if you approach it from that front,
So this blockchain was this task force was created in 2018. You say
is it 2016 or 18? I think
2016 and 18.
Yeah.
So maybe the time difference also is an issue.
That's the other thing which I was about to ask. Because now AI, the AI that you're talking about right now, the one which the chatbots here, they were just formed. The first one was just deployed in
2022. Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Like, are they aware? Like now we're talking about different types of AI.
Yeah.
Before that time, the AI we're talking about was
it was not even it was kind of technology.
It
to
was
me.
more of beneficial.
And it was more of advancing things to do, not to do things manual. Because what you are saying, like a farmer can record this on a machine. They have a gadget that can record that. You know, AI can come up with a technique where you don't need a farmer to go and record that. There's a machine that records temperatures that can be sent to the farm. It records temperatures. It identifies the insects or pests. It can identify if there's fungicide. Then it can
fungicide now is
fungi.
Let's take a break. So before we went for a break, Stanley, you were trying to raise a point on the use of technology and AI in agriculture, and where we were and where we are right now, because there is so much advancement.
Yeah, I was just trying to reason with you with that task force. I'm not sure if that task force is still in place or is doing enough, because if it was doing enough, maybe I would have heard of it, maybe in terms of this AI thing, even educating people and creating awareness. But my problem is we cannot use the knowledge we applied in 2018 to solve a problem that is here today, because what these guys were doing maybe in 2018, they are mitigating ways in which they can make things run efficiently without having to be a lot of manual work or something like that. But AI is coming in with a very, very different approach. An approach where you don't need someone to record anything. There's everything to record anything. So I think the government should first of all create awareness. If that task force is there, it should create awareness, the first thing. Then this awareness should start with institutions, because I believe anything that can be administered through an institution can really propel deeper, because it is from school that we gain all this knowledge.
So institution is comprised of so many stakeholders in it. Should we start with learners or should we start with teachers from your perspective?
I think we should start with teachers, because it's teachers who transfer this knowledge to students. So we start from there. The teachers should be aware that there is this genie in the market that's coming very fast, that's going to overtake you if you are not careful. Then from there now, we now mitigate on how teachers will now work hand in hand with this tool to ensure that students can benefit from the tool. So I don't know, what do you think?
I think that sounds good. Before Amos jumps in, the fact that we had a task force way back in 2018 or 16, we shall check the facts, but between the 2 years. So if right now we're still talking of we should, yet other countries are already doing. You remember our friend was saying, just this week they were called for a meeting to discuss the threats of AI in schools, particularly in Netherlands. So if they're already doing it, for us we're planning that we should. If there is something to do with we should, then with government it takes so much time. Should that worry us, or the fact that at least there is a task force that we should celebrate?
Actually, my concern stemming from that the issue of the task force which you have just raised is first of all was that issue. Like it was started like in
2016, 18. Let's talk of 16. Yeah.
Let's talk of 16. Yeah. That is way earlier before this the real AI, because the AI that we were dealing with during that time, I think, was not based on the large language models. It was based on a very different criteria, and it wasn't that powerful to a point that it can assist students, learners, in their academic process. So what we are dealing with right now is something that is quite ground shaking. It has changed. It has transformed completely how people acquire knowledge. As you mentioned when you were starting this episode, you said that we don't require the process of going to Google and then opening all the links and reading through the documents. Right now, if I have a problem, I just give it to instantly, and then I get the responses quite quickly. This is something that is different, because literally, I can pass all the examinations from kindergarten all the way to PhD level, all the examinations using this tool. So what we need right now, the task force that we need right now, is the one which really understands this problem, because this one is not an issue like, okay, we have an AI which can help you recommend the next video you can watch on YouTube. That's not a threat. A threat is something that can change, can alter a process that we hold so dear to our heart. Because that's why we do examinations. Because through examinations we demonstrate if you have understood a concept.
Exactly.
Now, if you can just bypass that process, instead of demonstrating from your own memory, you have this device which is going to give you precisely what is needed. Then we need a task force which can understand this problem. So, is it that you don't have information about this task force? Has it updated its own mandate to reach this level where it's addressing the issue which are dealing right now.
Is it up to date
Is
with
it up to date?
what is
Yeah.
happening? Because
Yeah.
because also just that issue of examination.
Yeah.
I think also when it comes to this education, we need to also change the way in which we are going to examine our candidates, because the normal way we have been examining the candidates should be changed in a way, because with this AI, to me, I would rather we have these students be examined even orally, in a way. You come there's a concept, you are examined, you are not referring anywhere, because even writing, students can cheat, some can just cram a concept because they want to go and put it on a paper. So with this AI, we need to also change that, because we might be raising people who do not conceptualize ideas, but rather just go there to write what they have crammed, or rather to just copy and paste. And something funny, even there are institutions which test students virtually, as in you are sent an exam, you do the exam online, then you send the feedback. I think that is a very it's not the right way to go about in this era, because basically you will be distorting that student completely at the end of the day.
So we've raised quite a lot. First of all, the worry or fear of is this task force up to date? I think it's upon themselves to update themselves, because even as we're sitting here, we are aware that ChatGPT just came up in 2022, and then every year there is new advancements that are massive, very drastic within a very short time. So they themselves have a task force that has a task to update themselves regularly and know what is new. So hopefully that task force is not comprised of people who are above 50, 60 years.
You see, now the problem also on top of that concern is that given that nobody, like, it's not common knowledge.
It's not unless you search online.
You go and Google and do deep dive into the internet to find all this information. You might not even have an idea
that it exists.
So which means its impact is almost negligible, because you can't feel it.
So I think one of the mandate was to recommend a legal framework for the government that would guide integration of AI in our daily lives. But I'm also aware that the legal framework that was trying to be established recently, it's been quashed because there is you see, this is always the problem with legal factors or trying to establish policies. There is always you need stakeholder involvement and all that, and then people are trying to establish these. The fear was they are trying to stop innovation. You see, they can establish a legal framework that facilitates innovation. That you're saying, yes, AI exists, our learners need to participate in learning, and there's another approach of saying, don't develop any new AI tool because it's a threat to us. So now the fear was they are going to stop the innovation that involves AI, and that's why I think even the policy itself is not yet ready. Is it the policy or the act? The government, the parliament need to discuss first before we can say we have a legal framework. And
but let me respond to that one before you leave that point.
We're not going to leave it. We're still there.
Before you address another one.
Because I know we need to talk about the legal framework of integrating AI into our curriculum. But for me, I believe, in as much as that is a very important thing, I believe that is one of the the peripheral issues.
I don't think it's peripheral.
I'm just giving my point.
It's your point, but I strongly oppose it.
And that's not Stanley's point.
It's not mine. It's not mine either.
It's mine.
Yes.
I believe the legal issue is not even the most important one right now. The issue is is our education system still, is it still valuable? Is it still standing? That's the most important thing, because now this is the one which is being affected so much. What we need right now, the most important mandate for this task force, or any task force which has been given this duty to understand what is going on in the realm of AI, is to ensure that education still maintains its
value.
sacred value.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to maintain that value.
Even in addition to that, I hear Elias say here they need to discuss. Whether they discuss, they don't discuss. AI is here.
It's here.
It's here with us. So this task force should not be. It should not be a matter of they need to discuss. The parliament there is a threat or something. It's already here. We need to find mitigation measures. They need to bring stakeholders on board. Because when you bring stakeholders on board, they come with different varied ideas and maybe ways in which we can mitigate this. And streamline it. So maybe what I would say, even before this thing goes to parliament, because parliament things can be political in a way. There are people who are just there to politicize everything and anything. There are people who are there because they support a bill, like here in Kenya, sorry to say, they can support a bill because they know the benefits behind the bill to them. So the thing is, this task force should come up with a stakeholder meeting kind of approach to bring various people on board and various experts on board, come up with a policy, a document that will advise the government. So even if this policy document is being taken to the government to institute as a law, but already we have experts knowledge or experts contribution on that particular document. So the thing will be, the government is just passing it for the purpose of implementation. So it is not a matter of we need parliament to go and discuss this thing.
I think one thing I like about this conversation is I always take the devil's advocate.
We need that one.
You're the bad cop here.
I'm the good cop for the government. Now, I find the legal framework to be the central part of developing AI. But you see it as peripheral aspect of it. We're talking of the likelihood. I mean, we've had a conversation about right now we are happy that only a few entities or brands are developing these tools. So we're not certain what will happen if thousands. Let's say just in Kenya alone, we have hundreds of entities developing AI tools in whichever way. It can be used by government to weaponize. If we have this dictatorship, and we've seen this even with police alone, they're using them to beat opposition. Now you try to imagine what they can do with AI. I mean, we've seen even in the States when they have elections and they're complaining about, I don't know, someone used Facebook to influence elections. No, before you even stop me, I'm taking the devil's advocate here. No, you can't stop me. You can't stop me.
I have a feeling.
No, don't have feelings. Allow me to finish this.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
What I'm trying to say is...
No, don't have feelings.
What I'm trying to say is, we have to watch on our time. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, if I want to develop, let's say we have a company and we want to participate actively in developing AI tools. Let's say we want to develop ChatGPT on our own. We need a legal framework. We can't just go to develop and then allow it to be discussed by parliament or government later, the executive, or it's interpreted in courts later. We need to develop or have the foundation of the legal framework to develop our
Let me cut you short.
No, you can't cut me short.
let me respond first.
Okay.
Now, I know, I'm the only devil's advocate, so I have to finish my points. Now, if you argue that legal framework is not important, then you are kind of playing the ostrich game that
We
were
didn't
saying.
argue like that.
No. You trying to say he's on the periphery. It's actually is arguing like that.
That's the issue. That's the point which I want to address. Actually. So we have to pick. What do they say? You pick what from what? Like you have to wheat from the chaff.
Wheat from the chaff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to
So what
separate
is the
from
chaff in this moment?
So our conversation is based on AI in education.
In education, and
Yeah,
the legal
that's-
framework should guide development of AI in education.
So it's okay. Yeah, that's what I want to address now. So first of all, we're not talking about creating, let's say, like campaigns for elections using AI and all that stuff. I know there are many issues which can be very detrimental. Even doing advertising using AI, yeah, they can be very detrimental, and they need legal consultations. But what you're addressing here, where we're saying that you don't need a legal framework to be like the paramount thing, is where AI is being used in education. Here, we're talking about AI in the context of education. So in the context of education, we have the problem of this AI being used by students to find shortcuts. To
Shortcuts
education.
answers.
Yeah. So in this context, is legal matters the most important thing, or is it addressing how this thing is affecting education the most important thing?
So it's a matter of priority right now.
Yeah,
I think this is part of what we
Yeah.
had asked.
Yeah.
Should we change the way we assess our students?
We've
Already talked about someone can cheat from all the way kindergarten. We're assuming it can be better.
Yeah,
But when
yeah.
they start to know using these tools, let's
Exactly.
say somewhere in grade 6,
Yeah.
and then up to university level, they're cheating their way through the process.
Yeah.
Because we have stuck to the traditional way of assessing learners.
Yeah.
Instead of advancing and just using simple ways that we was trying to say.
Yeah.
Encourage students to go take the answers from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Now let's discuss about these answers. Now, Stanley suggested something really interesting, because it's some sort of going back to.
You're moving away from.
No, I'm not moving away from anything.
Yeah, let him finish.
I'm not moving away from anything. That is the main.
I will come back to him.
I will come back to it myself.
We are going to come back.
I will come back to it myself. Now, Stanley said something really interesting that I liked. It looks like the oral way of passing information that was used during our grandfather's time. That you are encouraging learners, not really encouraging, but we want learners to take oral exams. We prioritize oral exams.
Yeah.
And then, you see, we already have, like in our context, we have Kenya National Examination Council that is guided by law, that every November or December of every month, you have to administer exams in this way.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you are saying, and I agree. And I agree
Now,
with you.
it's the same legal framework that we need to tell us
Okay.
we are transitioning from paper writing and let's say online assessments to we prioritize oral exams.
Let me now answer you.
Now, have we met somewhere?
Yes. Let me respond to you. You know, it's like you assume for us to have a legal framework, we just need to go to the parliament and we get the legal framework. That is not the case.
That's the essence of a task force.
No, listen. A legal framework starts from the ground. It starts from I think we can talk about this in our next in our next meeting, so that I tell you how law is created from grassroots up to the time it's reaching the legislation level.
I don't know how we're doing on time.
Let us finish on that on the next part.
Welcome again. Let's speak from where we were arguing. So
I wanted to tell you, because you think we are scrapping away the issue of having legislation or legal way through these issues. That's not the case. Because even before that law is enacted in parliament, it goes through a process.
Exactly.
For example, let me give you an example. You see this organization like Kipra, they conduct research. After conducting research, they write a policy paper. A policy paper is meant to advise the government, go and do this and this. So, and before even they write that policy document, they do bring stakeholders on board. So stakeholders' opinions are captured in that policy document. They can say, okay, look, AI is here with us, and we need to change the way we are examining our students.
Exactly.
Because you talked about the issue of oral. So we need to change that. Maybe we have kind of two exams, one day to be set for oral, another one for theory, because you also need to it is a way of measuring the ability of this student. So this thing should start from the ground before it goes to be enacted in parliament. Because if you say you want it to start in parliament, it might not be the case. Let the stakeholders come together. Let that task force, I don't know if it's working or it's not working, because I don't know anything about that task force.
Yes.
And I don't know what they are doing in office at the moment.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that task force needs to up their game, number one, bring stakeholders on board, let stakeholders discuss this issue of AI. We come up with a solution that will advise the government, and then after we advise the government, is upon now the government to enact it in the law, so that it becomes a law. We can say we will be doing two papers. One is oral. You are tested on your ability.
I think
because
we're talking of the same thing then.
Because you know you are arguing like.
I think the issue that Elias was really vehemently arguing about was revolving around task force or let's say like not task force but the legal issues being the most important ones.
And they remain to be the most important.
No,
thing.
they are not. They are not. That's where you get it wrong.
No, I don't get it wrong.
You get it. In fact, you don't just get it wrong. You get it very wrong because.
Let me give you a very simple example.
Yes.
This is a very simple example. Let's say like I develop a product.
Yes.
Let's say maybe it's a paint, and I want to put it to market. I want to start selling the paint. Do you think that when I'm thinking of this idea or when I'm developing this idea, the first thing I'll think about is lawyer?
No.
That will be the first issue.
No.
It won't be the first
It's
issue.
not the first thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
The first thing is that how do I make this product? I assemble the materials which are necessary for making this product. Then after that, when I've developed the product and see it's working, then I go to the people who are good in environmental stuff. They tell me, is it going to be toxic to the environment? It's not. So once then I take it to the cabs, does it pass the standards?
Yes.
It has passed the standards. When now I think the product is ready now to take to market, that's when I go to the legal people now to tell me now.
You now
pursue
the legal
The
framework.
fact that you think about KEBS in your process, that means even when you're starting to develop your product, you're already thinking about the effects of that product to the society.
That's very, very important. In whatever product you're trying to
both
Yes.
ethical effects, environmental, social, political.
It's very, very important.
And that means you're guided by some framework somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, there has to be some framework.
Exactly.
Because there's
Now,
a society, a community around us.
Let's take it on another level.
Yeah.
You want to develop a very interesting AI tool.
Yeah.
And let's say, of course we shall come back to this conversation of the percentage of our students who are taking STEM courses.
Yeah.
And how can we make that
Very
better?
key,
That's very key. Let's assume we increase our intake of STEM courses from 22% to 35%. Just a half of what is happening in the Asian market. And then we are encouraging them to innovate. When you innovate, you invent something new, you think of patent. Isn't that a legal framework that...
It comes after
invention or innovating.
And you can't apply your product or your tool, or you can't send it to the market without going through the patent.
No, we need we need to come up with, first of all, is we have policy.
Yeah.
When we have policy, it will be enacted into the law, because the law is there. The
Yeah.
law is still there, and I'm happy you are the one who is saying that the task force was created in 2016. So it's there. It's in the law. So the only thing is, this task force, to up their game, they need to do more research. They need to enlighten people about this AI thing, and then before coming up with a paper that will help these legislators to make it a law. You can't make a law on something that's not there. You
But
make a
you
law.
we are already in the process of making an act on the same, because I think it was just squashed last year, 2022. I don't know if it was in August or in
Last year,
June.
but what?
2022 or 23, yeah, we shall confirm that. But anyway, I think we're trying to say the same thing in a different way.
Let me just bring this ship back to the port.
It's roaming. It's roaming all over.
It's like a life on its own. Yes. We should not miss the substance of the argument here, or the discussion here. The substance of the discussion here is how what we are thinking the role of AI is going to be in education.
In education,
And how
that is our focal point.
That's our focal point.
Yeah.
So in that focal point, I think now it's easy now for us to break it down and see what do we believe is the most important thing to focus on right now. Yeah, because we're talking about the legal. I'm trying to understand why you're so concerned about the legal framework right now, because you see, AI is being used right now in this
Exactly.
country.
Yeah.
Do we have laws?
So right now they are largely relying on Data Protection Act 2019. They are entirely not entirely relying on data protection, which is like 10%, a drop in an ocean.
So let me ask you: if you take your laptop and you go and open ChatGPT, do you have to pass any law certification there to use it?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
There's none.
So right now, there's no law. There are no laws right now which have been built around AI. Let's say like these chatbots in Kenya right now. I don't think
there is none. There is none. Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
so the law issue is not a stumbling block right now when it comes to accessing these chatbots. Anybody can access it. No laws have been built around it, and you can use it the way you want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the only laws that are guiding the use of these chatbots are the ones in those countries where these chatbots have been built.
Yeah.
Those are the ones which are guiding this. These
Those that have been built within the chatbot.
Exactly, and you saw the last episode, we tried to prompt these two ChatGPT and Bard. So they've changed it to Gemini now. It's not Bard anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Gemini.
And that's why we yeah.
Just relax. Hold on your point.
All your
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't jump ship.
Yeah, we saw that there are things that you cannot even ask these chatbots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is a framework
from those countries.
from that side. Yeah.
Also ours.
Yeah.
Is it even a country, or is it guided by they themselves?
From the developers.
The developers themselves.
The country, the laws of the country usually do interfere, but also even those countries, they're still struggling with having a solid
framework.
Yeah.
It's not yet there.
Yeah.
Still even because most of the legislatures, they have no idea how
They don't understand how it
understand
works.
Yeah. So how do you expect those countries which are producing these AIs? They're still struggling. How do you expect ours to be ahead of this game? So ours, they are very, very in our country, we are very, very far behind. So right now, the biggest concern when it comes to the use of AI in academia, it's not legal framework. The biggest concern is it going to affect the learning process? Because that's what
it is affecting the learning process.
Already,
and by the way, on readiness index, Kenya is 71 globally. In terms of readiness for AI. If you look in Africa, we only have Mauritius, Seychelles.
South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa and Morocco are really coming up. Well in matters
Kenya.
technology.
I was happy to see Kenya and Rwanda. They are part of the top 100.
Also Nigeria is also.
No, Nigeria is not in top 100.
But I think to be concerned about is Rwanda. Because Rwanda, I think they're quite aggressive.
In terms of technology and people who have also done these STEM courses, you talk of South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and and Morocco.
Yeah.
Actually,
And
although in Africa they say
why is
Equator-
Egypt not appearing anywhere? Because the elders.
That can be a very good thing to
Yeah.
go and
although they say
Yeah.
Equatorial Guinea is the most learned country in Africa.
Maybe they are most learned in
it's-
sociology. Yeah,
I'm
per
not
capita.
sure
Yeah.
which courses they do
Yeah.
or something like that,
Mm.
but I know for sure Morocco, South Africa, and Seychelles, they are up on the game in terms of technology.
So even
So-
when we are talking about the readiness,
Mhm.
now that aspect of
But are we in agreement that right now the legal framework is not
is not
the most
is not a
concerning-
hindrance.
the most concerning issue?
I think it's
Yeah.
it's
Because-
we are not in agreement.
We should be in agreement because
Because you yourself, you have understood the
Because-
I
because you
understand.
see-
I
you
understand
see-
we need to
Yeah.
change how we examine our learners.
Yeah.
I understand our teachers need to be made aware. So,
And-
so even this task force, let's say these things need to be run concurrently. We should not say this one is more important, this one is not. But I still hold on to that idea that legal framework is very important.
Okay.
On one side, the task force
Let-
can.
let me ask you a question.
Don't
Let
ask
me-
question before I finish my point. So the task force need to give us a guide on how should the teachers be made aware. First of all, I mean there is making them aware and training them. Okay, so if we're talking of just creating awareness, you see they can employ any organization. We have study here that can take that contract to just assemble teachers and train them. There is this tool that is called AI. You can get answers from this tool. So you as teachers need to be aware of this. So there is that creating awareness, okay, which can be done without any legal framework.
Let me
But
ask you-
now,
let me ask you.
let me finish. But now you go to the second aspect of it, where the training itself. You train teachers on how to teach,
to use
on
the-
how to teach learners, not how to use, but how to.
First of all, even these teachers don't know how to use it. So you
That's
start
what
with
we're
the
talking
teachers.
about, awareness on the one side. On the other side, we're talking of now the training,
so-
which is guided by a legal framework.
So let me ask
that's
you
why
a
we need the
question,
two of
even if
them.
you don't want my question.
Now you can bring your question.
What normally advises the legal process?
Let me be eating some.
So the legal process, the way our constitution stipulates that for us to come
Leave
up-
alone our constitution.
No, our constitution is very important in this
It
case
is
because,
important, but any legal process, what advises a legal process?
and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
For us to have a legal process, there need to be public participation that you're talking about, and that is provided in the constitution already. So if we are talking of,
But what prompts public participation is a problem.
of course, right now we're talking of a problem.
Yes, that's why we are telling you.
Now
going
that
into
problem
law first
we're
is-
trying to solve from different perspectives. That's why I'm saying the
you
two
find
can-
ways of solving a problem, you put it in the law. So it's
Yeah.
not like you find the law to go and now solve the problem.
No,
you
the-
find the problem, you put it in the law. You say, okay, we have identified AI is doing this harm to
And
us.
how are you going to identify that?
Now this what we are saying, mitigation and bringing stakeholders on board.
Public participation, exactly.
Yes. Then you have already identified the problem now.
Yeah.
Now you say, we have also learned that through these stakeholders and research, we have also learned that 90% of our teachers do not understand AI.
AI completely.
What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
We put this in law that every institution should have computers or a laboratory or something like that, so that these teachers can be able to teach the students. So after that, we have learned that our students are accessing this system and misusing it. Can we put guardrails as a country? We put it in the law. So it's first of all coming up, identifying these issues, using stakeholder approach, and then putting it, not putting a law on something that you even don't know yourself.
No, maybe that's the essence of a task force. We're saying the same thing in different ways. Almost you wanna support my point or Stanley's point.
No, I think the good thing is that at least we are recording all this. So it was the right time to go and rewatch.
And also the audience, let's have a conversation on this. The audience, you will provide your comments in the comment section, trying to say, what do you think? Should we start with the legal framework which is guided by this task force that will be doing public participation and stakeholder involvement, or should we just wake up and go do public awareness and I don't know, teacher awareness? And
So what will the law say about the thing?
the law will say whatever it will have obtained from public participation and stakeholder involvement.
So you are agreeing that we start from the ground?
I think,
Then-
I think Stanley did explain for you exactly the entire process. And
in a layman's way.
So I think if you go back and just follow what Stanley has just explained, I think it will make it with some perfect
Okay,
sense.
I'll be watching that. Also, my audience, make sure you subscribe and check whatever we've discussed at that point and provide your insight. We see who is the most
Who's making more
almost
sense?
correct. Yeah, so today, as you may know, the conversation is somehow heated, but we shall keep pushing. If the conversation is heated at this level, then it means if we're not addressing the problems of AI, then we are in deep mess.
Yeah.
So let's proceed with that momentum, even in the comment section.
Yeah.
Now, we need to talk about assessing learners. We already have an argument of should we change the law first or should we create awareness first? But all of us should agree that we need to change the way we assess our students. You had already talked about oral assessments.
Mm-hmm.
Someone from another country has suggested allowing students to get those answers from AI tools and coming back to class to discuss. So that sounds like we are more doing of oral and group work in class, less of writing and theory that might involve anything to do with writing without the observation of a teacher. How do we find this?
Yeah,
Or if
yeah.
we have any other ways to assess learners?
Yeah, I I agree with you that to some extent we need to change the assessment techniques or methods because even when you were introducing this topic, you said that a teacher in other countries, they're encouraging teachers to give students questions, then they go to they get different answers, then they come and discuss. That is one thing, to bring answers and discuss. But another thing is, do you understand these answers?
Oh, that was a very important point. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you understand the answers? And if you understand the answers, do you conceptualize? Because if you, for example, if I just ask you a simple question, how can you know that somebody is learned in a certain area? How can you know?
Yeah, if I followed another podcast and someone was saying an educated person can be anyone. If you are educated in making tables, you make very fine tables.
And how do you know? How do you know this person is educated?
You observe the kind of table they make. Now, if you want to talk about someone who is, let's say, legal matters, someone who can articulate law in a very proper way that let's say they can win a case, then you will say that person is educated or learned in that on that front. Now, if we were talking about, for us, data analysts, stroke data scientist, if you can do your analysis and your visualization in a very nice way that the client, even if they are not technical people, they can understand technical findings, then you will say you are learned or you're just good in whatever you're doing.
So, in ultimate matter, you can only know somebody is educated through theory, leave alone these stories. Anything.
Not always theory.
Because there is difference between educated and being skilled. What you are saying, somebody can make a table is skilled. But being educated is having the theory of that particular topic.
But you know that.